What is up, Steelers Nation? Thank you so much for jumping on to another episode of All Steelers Talk. I'm Noah Schreckbein, joined always by my main man, Steven Thompson. Find us on youtube.com/All Steelers Talk and subscribe anywhere you get your podcast. Today, we are talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers potentially, or at least urged to, sign another offensive lineman. And on top of that, some wild playoff odds for the Pittsburgh Steelers and a prediction by good old ESPN that, man, can't be farther from a possibility, I guess. We'll dive into all that and more. It's a beautiful day in the Berg. The Pitt Panthers are 1-0 and put a couple of bucks in my pocket, so appreciate that. How was yesterday? How are you feeling, my friend?
Yesterday was great. It was actually a lot of fun to be back in the swing of things, back at the stadium, doing stuff like that, getting back into the routine of the regular season. A blowout win makes things easy, but I was reminded of how much fun I have in the press box and just hanging out on game day. It's a great time.
It is always. I mean, there's nothing better than covering football for a living. You know, it's a blessing we get to experience 17 weeks season, hopefully more this year, which we will dive into. But let's start with the Pittsburgh Steelers potentially signing an offensive lineman. Bleacher Report, who, take that as you will, has urged the Pittsburgh Steelers to go out and make one more addition to their 53-man roster, and that is former Las Vegas Raider and Seattle Seahawks guard Gabe Jackson, who they believe is the perfect backup to Isaac Seumalo and James Daniels this season. Quote, given the success of the Philadelphia Eagles offensive line under position coach Jeff Stoutland, it's not a bad idea just to poach former Eagles offensive linemen. However, Nate Herbig suffered a shoulder injury during training camp. While he seems to be trending in the right direction, it also exemplifies how important it is to have depth on the offensive line. Gabe Jackson could help provide more of that. The 32-year-old is getting up there in years, but he has started at least 15 games in each of the last 3 seasons. Last year, he allowed only 2 sacks for the Seattle Seahawks, according to PFF. 32 years old, has started his entire career, right? All but one game, you said just a couple of minutes ago. At this point, the Steelers have Nate Herbig, and then they kept Spencer Anderson, made 2 moves right at the roster deadline to get rid of some guard depth. I mean, you look at this move, you look at the urgency. Do you agree or do you disagree?
I think there is something to be said for the Steelers needing a little bit more depth along the offensive line, after trading 2 guys away. But I'm not sure it's as pressing as this kind of makes it out to be. If you can get a guy I think Gabe Jackson is a good player, super durable. Like you said, only gave up 2 sacks last year. Like, those are impressive numbers. But I don't know if they really need, another guard. I don't think Nate Herbig's injury is serious at all. And I get it. Offensive, the trenches are a meat grinder and, anything can happen. But I don't know. There's nothing really to indicate that the Steelers or the offensive line is, injury prone or anything or like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not. I mean, the 2 guys who like Kevin Dotson was the one who.
Yeah, he was the injury guy.
Yeah, and now he's out of there. So I don't like. I'm not super concerned with the depth there, the threat of injury. So I don't think this is super necessary. I mean, if you were thinking about a cosmetic, addition to the 53-man roster, yeah, I guess this would work. This would probably make sense, but I don't think it's super necessary.
Yeah, I kind of look at it like, why would you get rid of Kevin Dotson and Kendrick Green just to say, oh, well, we need more offensive line depth?
Yeah.
Because at that point, like, you were sold on Spencer Anderson enough to make those moves. You viewed Nate Herbig as like the guy behind Seumalo and James Daniels. And I don't think that you're making that move. I don't think that you're getting rid of Kevin Dotson if you don't believe Nate Herbig is going to be ready for the season, and like that shoulder injury isn't such a huge deal. So I just don't know why you'd go out and sign somebody else if you're just sold on what you have right now. And on top of that, like, Gabe Jackson, I don't know what he's looking for. And this deep into the year, it's hard to say that he's going to get a starting job somewhere, but I doubt he's looking to be like the 3rd guy. And that's what he's going to be. Like, Nate Herbig is their backup. They feel really good about Nate Herbig as that 2nd guy. He's only 25 years old, so there's no point in saying, oh, well, let's bring in an experienced guy. No, build Nate Herbig. This is what you do. And what do you get? You're not going to get rid of Spencer Anderson. So at that point, you're going back to where they were before cuts, which was probably get rid of Dylan Cook, add Gabe Jackson, make Spencer Anderson that all-around guy, which is not ideal, and everybody's acknowledged that's not ideal. And then Gabe Jackson is your fourth interior offensive lineman. Just, not just kind of puts you back to where you were, and I don't think the Steelers were looking for that.
No, I completely agree. It's a little bit redundant. And it feels like a move that they would have made already. If they actually felt like they needed. I think there is an argument for, okay, Kevin Dotson. I guess Kevin Dotson was pretty good, but trading away Kendrick Green, like you're just not happy with his performance. You get a draft pick back, and then you upgrade with a Gabe Jackson. But yeah, like you said, I think that just brings them back to square one. They've already, I think they're very settled in with the rotation that they got and the guys that they got. I just don't. This feels like extra effort for something that they don't really need.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think at this point, people are just trying to come up with whatever they could possibly come up with. But why are you, why are you trying to, don't add a move to a team that feels pretty set in stone, Like, there's no need to make adjustments just to make adjustments. And it also shows that a lot of people don't pay attention to the Pittsburgh Steelers as well as maybe some other teams. And as a national media standpoint, like, that's tough to do, is to say that I'm going to pay attention to every team in a deep dive and understand everybody. But if you spent about a week around the Pittsburgh Steelers in the last month, you'd understand that they are real confident in Spencer Anderson, and they want that guy to develop into something. And on top of that, like, Nate Herbig's just their dude, like he's been their guy since the second he signed. There's just no need to continue to add pieces to the puzzle on a team that they already believe is finished. Right. Let's dive into some playoff stuff. Over the last week and a half, I'd say, the Pittsburgh Steelers have gotten every single side of the playoff conversation. The Kenny Pickett is it. This is real. Jump on the bandwagon. I've watched Good Morning Football 2 or 3 times over the last 2 weeks, and every single time it is Kyle Brandt standing there screaming about how much everyone should love Kenny Pickett. Then you go online and you hear guys like Mike Tattenbaum, who are just like, yeah, man, whatever. Like, this guy sucks. The Steelers suck. Mike Tomlin sucks. Everybody in Pittsburgh sucks. And you're like, okay, all right. Glad that we're getting both sides of the argument here. And then you look at ESPN's latest prediction of, I believe there's 8 or 9 teams with their odds of making the playoffs according to ESPN's analytics. Let me read off this list for you. The New York Jets, 51.5%. The Atlanta Falcons, 40.6%. The Detroit Lions, 65.4%. The Denver Broncos, 34%. The Chicago Bears, 34.2%. The LA Rams, 24.8%. The New Orleans Saints, 56.5%. The New England Patriots, I almost forgot where the Patriots are from, 23.8%. The Green Bay Packers, 27.9%. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, 34.4% chance to make the playoffs. I mean, it's understandable coming off a year and seeing what the AFC is that there is a little bit of doubt. But you look at some of these teams that the league, or at least the national media, considers on the rise, and it's almost as if the Pittsburgh Steelers just don't exist. Like, there's maybe minimal reason to not have faith in this team, and a lot of people that are putting way more faith in other teams around the league over the Pittsburgh Steelers. You saw that list. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, this is just, I hear that number 34%, and I don't super know what to make of it. But when you compare it to what other teams around, the kind of, just literally the odds that other teams have, I don't know, to think that they're on the same plane as the Denver Broncos right now. Yes. I get it. They got, but how did the Broncos kind of get on that same plane as the Steelers? You watched those two teams last year, and there was one that looked just completely devoid of hope, and the other where you could see some things start to build. And I think that I feel the same way about the Bears. I know the Bears did get better, but
yeah, but how much better?
Right. And the Bears are in a tough division too. That's part of the argument, right? Is that the Steelers are in such a tough division. The AFC is so tough, but you're telling me that You're telling me that the NFC North isn't going to be tough this year? It has like 4 teams that could all conceivably make the playoffs. Like,
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, I just don't understand when you like compare these numbers to other teams around the league. Like the Steelers got significantly better. The roster got better. They have an easier schedule.
Yep.
Like this is all the signs are pointing up when and they like you said they're being overlooked in that aspect too. Like and it's a bet on it's 34% chance to win one more game than last year, right? Like and you're telling me you can't that's all? Like there's only a 34% chance they win 10 games instead of 9?
That's what I'm saying. Like this and you're right. Like the argument is it's got to be at least. Oh, well, they're in a tough division. Oh, well, they're in a tough conference. The AFC's stacked. I 100% agree. 100% agree. But the Miami Dolphins were half a game into the playoffs. You're telling me that that the Steelers can't surpass them? There's not like an opportunity there. Other teams, the New York Jets have 51% chance of making the playoffs. How does that happen? Like so what you're saying is that they have immediately surpassed teams like the Miami Dolphins, the Jacksonville Jaguars, probably, the Chargers, the Steelers, the Ravens. Like they've hit the wild. Unless you're thinking they're going to win the division, then it's they're a wild card team. So they've immediately surpassed all they've done is add Aaron Rodgers. That's all they've done.
And do we forget that Aaron Rodgers was nothing special last year?
No,
like let's be real. Like
37 years old. Yeah. At what point do we start like questioning? Well, maybe that isn't it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, Aaron Rodgers was nothing to jump your odds that significantly, but still, like just, Steelers alone. Okay. Sticking with the AFC North, the Cincinnati Bengals are the Cincinnati Bengals. And even if people want to discredit them in some way or another, they're the Cincinnati Bengals. I am very high on what the Bengals potential could be really until Joe Burrow leaves. Like when Joe Burrow leaves, I'll reevaluate things. But for right now, yeah. Okay. The Baltimore Ravens, I guess
could go a bunch of different ways. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you probably got better on offense, but how bad was your offense? Like where, if the bar was this low and you went to here, is that enough to say that, you've taken that step?
Right. And is Lamar going to be there the entire year?
Yes.
Like we don't know that. That's far from a guarantee as well.
Yeah. They're dealing with injuries. They lost both of their starting corners at this point. Like there's a million question marks when it comes to the Baltimore Ravens. The Cleveland Browns are in the same boat. Like the hype around the Cleveland Browns is huge every single year. Every single season, the Cleveland Browns are the team to beat out of nowhere, just because on paper they look ridiculous. And every year after year, they just bottom of the barrel in the AFC North. And maybe that will change. Maybe it will. But until proven otherwise, I am not going like that's how I look at the Steelers. Until proven otherwise, I have faith in the Steelers. Until proven otherwise, I have no faith in the Cleveland Browns. So all you have to do is, find yourself in second place in the AFC North. And we haven't even dove into the division or into the conference yet. But like, I can't name 4 teams that I think are wild card teams that are better than the Pittsburgh Steelers and have a better opportunity to make the playoffs than the Pittsburgh Steelers. Can you?
No, I don't think so. I mean, so Jags probably going to win their division. Kansas City going to win theirs.
Yep.
We can pencil in the Bills, but it's like
we'll guess. But that's a better guess than New York.
Yeah, but it's like in that same kind of like that next tier is like Chargers, Chargers, Jets, Steelers, and
the Dolphins.
Yeah, and then the Dolphins gonna be without Jalen Ramsey for 5 weeks. So like, I don't know. I'm like the Dolphins seem a little suspect to me, like a little iffy. I'm not. So like, but that's all to like the Steelers have such a steady presence. Like how do I put this? Like they are among all of those teams. I think they're one that you can be very, very certain about. Like their floor is pretty high and pretty solid. Like their ceiling is a lot more volatile. Like you don't know like how high they can actually reach exactly. But like like you said, like with Mike Tomlin, they are going to win. They're going to win 9 games. Like they're going to win 9 games. It's all just about that one more win against an easier schedule, like we said.
Yeah, and you haven't even put into consideration yet. You're just looking at the division and the conference and Mike Tomlin, but like you haven't taken into account that, you go through this roster and they have a 10 times better wide receiver core than they did a year ago. They have a 10 times better offensive line than they had a year ago. They have not one, but possibly 3 tight ends that they feel pretty good about. Their defensive line is ridiculous, like better than they've been. I mean, last year, DeMarvin Leal was playing everywhere. This year, like if DeMarvin Leal doesn't see the field, you're like, well, there's 7 other dudes that should see playing time as well. They finally have some inside linebackers. It looks like their corners are very questionable, but their corners were very questionable a year ago. And their safety, in my opinion, like a little bit better than a year ago, just because you didn't have DeMonte KZ for the first 8 weeks of the season. If he stays healthy, you have DeMonte KZ. And I like Keanu Neal. Like Keanu Neal is a dude that I think has a lot of potential in this defense. It just, it just seems like the Steelers are a team that improved. And like you said, we're one spot or one win away from the postseason, or like a Joe Flacco does anything for the New York Jets and they're in the post. Like that's all they needed. They needed Joe Flacco to score more than 6 points in a ball game to go to the postseason. And that's the team that has a 51% chance of making the playoffs instead of the Pittsburgh Steelers, is the New York Jets, who without Aaron Rodgers, and I get it, without Aaron Rodgers is a huge if, but couldn't put up more than 6 points to go beat the Miami Dolphins and give the Pittsburgh Steelers a playoff shot. But this year with Aaron Rodgers, it's over.
Yeah.
It is over. And I guess Dalvin Cook too. I took Dalvin Cook in my fantasy league yesterday. So
you gotta hope.
I'm kind of hoping that one works out.
Yeah. I mean, like the Jets certainly got better, but 50% chance to make that just seems, because there is going to be some dysfunction there. Like, not saying they're going to be bad, but they are. It's not going to be completely smooth sailing throughout the entire season, especially early on. I could almost guarantee you that. I've been watching a lot of Hard Knocks recently, if you haven't been able to tell. But no, but like there are going to be some growing pains when you like bring in that kind of roster turnover, especially on offense. So that thing is not going to be firing. Like, I fully expect them to. I think they play the first like Monday Night Football game of the year. They might like come out and just lay a complete egg against the Bills. But
I hope not, because I also have Garrett Wilson. And Aaron Rodgers, man, I want real Jets heavy on this team.
Really, for someone who's talking down the Jets right now, you're not you seem to be a believer in a lot of their players.
Yeah, the group chat who was just destroying me yesterday, they might be onto something. Yeah. They might be onto something.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this before we dive back in. It's just a quick fantasy football question. Took Kenny Pickett like the 12th round. Feeling confident in Kenny Pickett?
I don't hate it.
Right?
Yeah.
Backup quarterback to Aaron Rodgers. Not bad.
Oh yeah, he's your backup to okay. I was like, they're not on the same team. No, but I don't hate that. I mean, I don't know how many picks you like have in your league. Like,
I think it's like 15 teams or 15 a team.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I don't hate that. I mean, like Kenny, I wouldn't just like draft Kenny straight up as my starting quarterback, but I think there is some potential that like you'll be able to read it out by week 1. Because also that's the other thing. I wouldn't want to start him like against the Niners, and then things get much easier from there. So you can like make a little read on it after week 1. I don't hate that.
Nah, I thought it was a good one. Also got George Pickens.
I was gonna say I really wanted to pick up at least a Steelers guy in like every league that I'm in, but I was gunning for Pickens. I think I had a chance to get Pickens, but he was picked like 2 picks before me or something. I feel like the receivers are like, like Pickens, Johnson, Freiermuth, even like Jalen Moore and Allen Ross. Like those are the guys in the Steelers that I think are really. I did also want to get the Steelers defense too.
I also got the Steelers defense. I went Kenny, George, and Steelers defense. You always have to have one, like you said. Like it just makes Sundays a lot more fun to sit there and just be like, yes, good catch, JP. Attaboy. Attaboy. That's 6 points. Yeah. It adds a little spark. But I was feeling good about the Pickens. I took a lot. I went Kenny over Tua, which again, straight to this argument. Right? Tua, so much hype around Tua Tagovailoa. Almost like just doesn't make any sense to me, man. Just doesn't make any sense to me. Give it to Kenny. If you've ever thought, why the is my wireless bill so high, then let me tell you about Mint Mobile, who I'm partnering with for today's videos. You might already know Mint Mobile if you've seen those funny ads from Ryan Reynolds, who is also an owner. But let me quickly tell you how awesome their service is. Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for as low as $15 a month, and you don't have to sacrifice any coverage, speed, or data. They're built on the nation's largest 5G network. They keep costs low because they sell to you direct online. They cut out the middleman. No retail stores, no salespeople. Why should you pay more than you have to for the same network? Click the link in my description or scan this QR code if you're interested in the best value in wireless. All Mint Mobile plans include unlimited nationwide talk and text, plus lightning fast 5G and free mobile hotspot. Mint also offers a modern family plan that lets you set up a super affordable family plan with as little as 2 lines. I switched to Mint. I moved to the fancy part of town, and everybody made it a big deal when I got here. But what they didn't tell me is that the cell phone service disappears. With Mint, that didn't happen. And I can never tell you how thankful I am to get those text messages and those phone calls when I'm sitting in a dead zone. Switching to Mint is super easy. Thanks to their digital eSIM cards, you can sign up and activate immediately right on your phone from the comfort of your home. If your phone isn't eSIM compatible, Mint will ship you a new SIM card for free. It only takes about 15 minutes to switch, and Mint has great customer service if you need help. I know 0 things about the internet and 0 things about my phone. So I called Mint, and I still got it done in 15 minutes. That's how good they are. Now, as a special limited time offer, you can get their unlimited plan, which is normally only $30 a month, for just $15 a month. That's a 50% savings off their already super low price. It only takes 15 minutes to pay as low as $15 a month for your phone plan. It really is that simple. Use our link, trymintmobile.com/Steelers Talk to get started. Or you could check out the link in our description or scan this QR code, whatever you prefer. It helps out our channel. And if you've already made the switch, let me know in the comments. Last thing I want to talk about here is sticking with the Steelers' playoff odds and the expectations for the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2023. They have also been named on a list of 4 teams that are most likely to decline this season. They are sitting next to the Philadelphia Eagles, former Super Bowl participant. Yeah, runner-up, thank you. Philadelphia Eagles, the Minnesota Vikings, who, say what you will, but the Minnesota Vikings they're never good. They're never a team I'm going to bet on. But I'm confident enough that they're always going to make the playoffs. They're always going to be there.
Yeah, damn it, they can win. They can win 11 games.
That's what I'm saying. They just do it. Yeah, Kirk Cousins just gets you there. He doesn't win you. He doesn't win it for you, but he'll get you there. And the New York Giants, which that one I kind of feel maybe.
Really? I don't feel that one at all.
You high on the New York Giants, huh?
Oh yeah, we talked about this on the way out to Latrobe one day. I'm a Danny Dimes guy.
Oh, you are a Danny Dimes guy,
and I like Jalen Hyatt. I like Darren Waller. I like all those guys. So I'm a little higher on the Jets and they also got a old pick guy, Jason Pinnock. He's been playing well for them. So yeah, I think he's gonna start at safety. But yeah, no, I'm in on the Giants.
All right. Either way, Pittsburgh Steelers team to decline. Much like we said, all you have to do is win one more game. So I think the simplest way to go about this, just to start things off, is we're just going to find 10 wins that the Pittsburgh Steelers could come up with. Week 1 against the San Francisco 49ers, we'll find easy wins. We're not even we'll wait on the hard ones. I wouldn't say that's a guaranteed win. The Cleveland Browns in week 2 at home,
take it.
Monday Night Football, that's a win. Yeah, that's a win. The Las Vegas Raiders in week 3, Sunday Night Football, that's a win. At Houston the following week, CJ Stroud, got huge expectations for him. I like DeMarco Ryans. That's a win.
That's a win. Yeah.
It's a win. There is 3. The Baltimore Ravens, never a guarantee. Can't say that one. You go on the bye week, you come back, the Los Angeles Rams, Kevin Dotson. That's a win.
Yeah.
That's 4. The Jacksonville Jaguars, I think are, the close, but not a guarantee.
Oh,
I'm thinking a guarantee?
No, I think that'd be a loss. That seems like a loss to me.
That's what I'm saying. I think that's still
okay.
That's very much so up in the air. Tennessee Titans, though, that's a win. Yeah, that's an easy win. That's 5 right there. The Green Bay Packers. I don't know how good you feel about the Green Bay Packers, but
I'm gonna say win for now. That's not too many unknowns.
Too many unknowns. That's a win. The Cleveland Browns will say they split the series. Cincinnati Bengals, we're not going to go that one. So we're at 6 wins right now, I believe. The Arizona Cardinals, worst team in football, possibly. Win. Shout out Donnie Drew. See you on December 3rd.
That'll be a fun one.
I'll leave this one up to you. We're at 7 right now. The New England Patriots.
That one might get ugly. Why they're playing that
ugly
on that's
ugly
such a
for the Patriots?
Yeah. Patriots. I don't know if I've said this actually on the podcast. The Patriots can be bad this year. I'm not convinced that well, actually, that's not true. I swing back and forth all the time. Like sometimes when I'm just like sitting in bed at night, I'm like, well, defense is all right. And like, they actually have an offensive coordinator this year. And then no, I need to stop. Stop doing that. They're gonna be bad. That's a win for the Steelers.
Right. So I believe that's 7. The Indianapolis Colts
win.
There's 8. Cincinnati Bengals, you're gonna split that one. Seattle, I'm gonna say is a toss up, and Baltimore is a toss up. So you got 8 easy wins. And then you could go, I'd say San Fran's a toss-up. Yeah. Chances are you're going to win one of the Baltimore games, and chances are you're going to win one of the Cincinnati games. So that's 2 more.
Isn't that what they did? They did all last year. They split the division right down the middle, right?
With everybody, but did they lose to the Browns? They might have beat the Browns twice.
No, because they lost that first one that George Pickens had that crazy catch. It was in Baltimore. It was like a Thursday night game, too. That was
True. They did lose that one. So say they split those 3. That's another 3 more wins. You're at 10. We haven't even, the Jacksonville Jaguars. We'll say that's a loss.
That one could go either way. I mean, at home.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think the Seattle Seahawks are the same way. You don't know what's going to happen to the Seattle Seahawks. I just look at all those and say, maybe. And they're not going perfect. The Steelers are not winning every single game. But we just came up with 12 games that very, very winnable. All you have to do is win 10 of them to be a team on the rise. And they did. They won 9 last year with
a significantly worse roster. Worse roster.
Yeah. And 0 court. I think the biggest thing is, significantly worse roster. It would have been a better quarterback situation if Mitch sucked and played the whole season, Just because then you're 4 weeks into the year and you go, oh, well, never mind. Kenny's got to learn it all and do it all and adjust. And he wasn't probably ready to start week 1. He's probably not ready to start now. His first start was against the Buffalo Bills. His second start was against the Miami Dolphins. And his third start was against the freaking Philadelphia Eagles, which is, you just tossed him into the worst fire imaginable and said, hey, go figure it out. And we're very lucky. I mean, they're very lucky he did by the end of the season, but the starting line of where the Pittsburgh Steelers are this year compared to last year is just ridiculously head and shoulders. It's nowhere close.
Yeah. And it's not just the additions they made. It's you're counting on, and I think it's perfectly reasonable to expect major steps forward from guys at the most important positions.
Yes,
you have a true wide receiver 1 now. You've got a quarterback who actually knows what he's doing. He's got an offensive line that is significantly upgraded. You got a defensive line that's deeper than ever. Your linebackers are so much better. We've already, run through these a million times, but I don't understand how you look at that roster and look at the floor because it's not the Eagles thing. I think that makes a little bit more sense in terms of they reach such a high spot. There's limited room to go up and there's a lot of room to go down. That makes somewhat, I don't agree with it, but I think it makes a little bit of sense. The Steelers weren't even in that super lofty position and then lost a bunch of No, it's the complete opposite. They started from actually a pretty low place and then continued to get better and then significantly upgraded their roster and like we said, facing a much easier schedule. I'd be really curious to hear what the argument is for why they would decline. I think everything about them says arrow up, and it's got to play out on the field, but in terms of expectations, I don't understand that at all.
No. And just like you said, the starting point of where they'd be, the Broncos are a team that's most likely to improve. The Bears are a team that's most likely to improve. The Browns are a team that's most likely to improve.
How are the Bears and the Steelers not the exact same situation?
The Bears and the Steelers?
Yeah, is it not the Bears were, starting from a much worse place, but young quarterback
young quarterback that's growing. Exactly.
Yeah, and you got him some better weapons. That defense is, I actually don't know how good the Bears defense will be.
No, me neither, but I expect to be okay.
But the Steelers defense is going to be better. So I don't understand how the Bears are a team that can improve, but like are set to improve or have trajectory upwards, while the Steelers wouldn't be.
The fourth team on that list is the LA Rams.
Jesus.
So
Okay.
that's what I'm
The Rams are gonna
saying.
have like a top 3 pick.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know what their pick was this year, but I don't think it was. Did they even have a pick? I
No,
think
they
they're
didn't,
still.
because they traded all of them away to win that one Super Bowl. I mean,
Yeah,
worth it,
yeah.
but like,
Yeah. You win a ring, that's all that counts. But still, like that. I don't know where they would have picked. I think it was. I don't remember. I don't remember who they traded with, but it had to be the Lions, right? Because it was Stafford.
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't remember where the Lions picked.
yeah. But they
But
also had to trade for like OBJ
true.
and who? Oh, Von Miller. Didn't they get Von
Von
Miller?
Miller was on that
Yeah.
list. Yeah, true. There's a million of them. They
Mhm.
they gave away everything. I don't remember where they picked last year, but chances are they're going down. But just like you said, like it just especially like a team, just to compare them to the Browns, like one more time, like if the Browns are a team on the rise, you just think the Steelers are going to be worse than the Browns. Like,
Yeah.
I could see them be a neck and neck if everything goes right for the Browns and the Steelers, but I just don't see.
And
I
the
don't see the. I
Go
don't see
ahead.
either of them like taking that. You know what I mean? Like I just don't see Cleveland like taking that massive jump while the Steelers are just sitting there like, yeah, no, I don't know how it didn't work out.
Right, right. And Cleveland's not even like super young or anything. Like
No,
I mean, they're just a bunch of veterans that like people. I think they have some talent. They have talent, but like if you're talking about trajectory and expectation and like where teams are trending, I don't know. I feel like the Steelers have a much more solid base, and then the sky is the limit in terms of their potential, like whether or not that
yeah,
actually play like that. Because that's the thing. This isn't objective. Like you can measure like potential or like whether or not a team will improve or get like. But I know it's subjective, but like I don't understand how you look at the Steelers and think. There's nothing about the roster, the schedule, the anything that makes me think they are more likely to get worse than they are to get better.
yeah.
I truly don't understand this at all.
I don't either. It's the flip flop of the national media. It's a tough spot to be for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I hate calling out. Like I don't like to attack media or say anybody's wrong, but like just like when you look at the NFL as a wide scope, for some reason the Pittsburgh Steelers are always a team that have a negative light on them. Couldn't tell you why, but it always just seems to happen that way. I just think that you start with such a strong ground in Mike Tomlin that like any year is very like you give this guy anything and he's going to make something out of it. You give him a lot, which is what you gave him this year. He's going to make a lot out of it. Like I'm not saying he's going to go win a Super Bowl, but would you really be that surprised if the Steelers found themselves in the Super Bowl? Like in February came and you were just like, holy shit, the Steelers. Like I wouldn't go put a bet on it. I wouldn't say that it's even remotely likely. What I would say is that if January rolled around and the Steelers were ridiculous, I'd be like, yeah, well, you know what? That's just what happens when you have a coach like this and you give them the players like this. That's just what happens. What doesn't happen is losing. You don't go the opposite way. So
Yeah,
tough spot to be. Go ahead. Sorry.
yeah. No, I mean, it would surprise me, but not like
Yeah.
I would look back on it and say, oh well, like I saw all this stuff during training camp and I saw like the roster improvements and everything. Like, so I guess in hindsight, like I would. We'd arrive at Super Bowl weekend, Super Bowl Sunday, and be like, "Wow, holy shit!" Like the Steelers are actually here, but like the writing's on the wall. The reasons are there.
Yes.
Like it's not completely improbable in my mind.
Yes. And that's a good point. Like and I feel like I'm dragging this out, but that's a really good point. The writing is on the wall. Like the writing is not on the wall for a team like the Cleveland Browns to make a significant jump because they have the same guys and the same team. And yeah, they've added it a little bit, but like they've just continued to bank on Deshaun Watson's got to be Deshaun Watson. And like that writing is not on the wall. It's not there. But Kenny Pickett's improvement is writing on the wall. The offensive line, the defense, all writing on the wall. Mike Tomlin writing on the wall. There is signs, and I think that is the biggest thing here is that there are a lot of teams that get hyped that don't have these signs that you're just like, well, this should happen. The Steelers are like, well, it should, like, Kenny Pickett shouldn't be this good in year 2, but he could be because he's looked pretty good as of this point.
Yeah.
And I think that's where That's where that's where if you're going to come up with a reason whether or not they should increase or decrease, it should be improvement. Yeah. All right, with that, we're heading out of here and we begin week 1 of the NFL season. Football is played this Sunday and we cannot wait. Thank you guys so much for jumping on to another episode of All Steelers Talk. Make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/All Steelers Talk, and find us anywhere you get your podcasts. Find all of our work at allsteelers.com and recap Pitt's dominant win over Warford. Did I get that one right?
No.
Wofford.
Yeah, there you go.
There it is. Worst logo of all time.
Yeah.
In the history of the world. That is just the softest logo, man.
Trying to make a terrier look scary, you can't really do that. That's
awful. Is that what I didn't even realize it was a terrier? I didn't pay attention to what their name was. I just sat there and watched the game, but oh my God. It was like a bulldog for a kid's show or something.
Right, and it looks like it's from like the 50s or something.
Yeah, really bad. Really bad.
It's classic in a bad way, you know? It's like vintage in a bad way.
Upgrade it. Like just make it a little bit meaner. A little something. It was as bad as it gets. But find out everything that happened in that game and what's to come next week and the weeks following. I think at this point everybody's just waiting for good old West Virginia and the backyard brawl at InsideThePanthers.com. We will be back on Wednesday. Enjoy another beautiful day in the Berg. Peace.